Hey guys, how you doing? Coach of the Soul, Sunday edition. I thought I would come on here for a bit and about the news about the president and tell you some things that Spirit has given me last week, but I wasn't able to tell anybody because they said don't tell anybody yet. So now I know why. And that was the day that the president got COVID. Okay, after the debate and him being so sick, he pretty much had COVID then. He had pretty much had COVID then. Even though they might have tested him, which they probably did, it wasn't full strength until last week. So this is meant to happen. Like I've said before, he would be a one-term president if you look back at 2018 and 19, that he would run, that he would win, which nobody believed he would win. It was after South Carolina when he blew everybody away that they all kind of dropped out because, again, soul journey, and he needed to be in office for 4 years. Okay, Kamala Harris will definitely win. All right. I talked about last week about possible successors to her, right? In the future, not knowing that it was going to happen so quickly. I knew that the president was sick, and I knew that he would probably not go forward, but there was no absolute about anything, right? They said, just don't tell anybody yet. Okay, so the VP picks will be the ones that I talked about last week, which would be Mayor Pete, all right, Devin Newsom, okay, and the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. She would never do it, all right. It's not her time. Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania, it's not his time. He's just got into office. So neither one. So those two would be dropped. Those two would not even be a possibility, from what Spirit tells me. Okay. I know. Spirit keeps telling me it's going to be Mayor Pete. It's going to be Mayor Pete, and just because he's articulate and he knows his stuff. With Gavin Newsom, who's the governor of California. You can't have VP and president from the same state. And so I don't think it would be him, but also he would overshadow Kamala big time. He's got Bill Clinton big energy. Okay? So she would definitely not go that route. I believe it's going to be Mayor Pete. And they're a perfect match, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, right? If they like each other, if they've had confrontations. I'm not really sure who else they would go to that is articulate and who is pretty much known across the country and who is pretty much really liked. And the cool thing is, he's from Traverse City, right? That's where him and his husband and their 2 kids live, is up there. So be cool to have somebody from Michigan, but also, again, Indiana. That might really help. But as Spirit had told us months ago, that it was going to be a cluster, right? And everything happens. Again, guys, remember, everything happens like it's supposed to. Soul journey. Joe Biden was supposed to be there for 4 years, and he will be, as Spirit talked about, I believe Thursday, and also I believe the week previous, that Joe Biden will pass away very quickly next year, or maybe at the end of the year. And Donald Trump also. Donald Trump will more than likely pass away by the end of next year because he's really sick. And Joe Biden has COVID really bad. Isn't it interesting how the universe works, how God works, right? If you want to call it God, how our soul journey works, right? Is that they make us sick so we can't go forward. We have a absolutely bad debate night, which blows everybody's idea of who we are, right? absolutely, it's like they're churning in their seats because they're still afraid. And we don't have to be afraid, everybody. We're not. Don't have to be afraid, right? Kamala Harris used to be a prosecutor and the Attorney General of California. They got the 9th largest economy in the world. They have millions and millions of people. She's badass. Now, do people like her? I think they can grow to like her because she's focused on taking somebody down, putting out there everything that they're not saying on the other side. Mayor Pete's the same way, right? He goes on Fox and he just obliterates them. They're trying to do propaganda. He says, no, that's not. He was in Congress last week or the week before, sitting in front of one of the committees. And they were all like this and that, electric cars and blah, 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 blah. Nobody's forcing you to buy an electric car. But they want to say that they're shoving it down our throat. In fact, I had a conversation with a woman last Saturday. She had an Impala. I have an Impala. Hers is like 10 years older than mine. And she said, oh, I like your car, blah, 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 blah. Then she started on the political stuff, about how everything is concrete and everything is blacktop. And, the whole country's going to be, she must be at least my age. I'm 64. Or older, or she might have just had a rough life, right? But she started in on the electric cars and being shoved down our throat, and the illegal aliens, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I thought we were talking about the cars. She goes, no, don't you think? No, I don't think. America's huge. There's plenty of open space. Go to northern Michigan. They got all kinds of space. Nothing's blacktop, nothing's cemented. So they have their own narrative. And Kamala Harris has got the ability to punch back. She has the ability to tell the story. The blessing is she's trained for this, right? I mean, look at all the trips or overseas, but also in the country that she's done because Joe can't. And I thought about that 6 to 8 to 9 months ago. Wow, she's really out there and he's not. So it must be because he can't do it. Because he's Grandpa Joe now, right? And it's okay because everything happens like it's supposed to happen. And her and whoever she picks to be VP are going to demolish the propaganda. Going to demolish it. For all the people that are afraid. There's massive talking points. Abortion. Project 2025. I mean, just all kinds of other things to talk about. And she doesn't have to buck up about inflation. She doesn't have to buck up about gas prices because she wasn't the president. Okay, so let me answer one of these questions. Kristen, Gretchen Whitmer does not translate across the country. What she did in Michigan is specifically for Michigan. We're a different breed. People in Michigan are different from any place else in the country. I've lived other places, and it's amazing how domesticated people in Michigan are. How we're in our own little bubble, especially in Southeast Michigan. Own little bubble, and we don't like people from the outside. Usually, they come in and go, what is up with me? Why is the energy so heavy? Why is Detroit so heavy? It's the industrial complex. So what she's done, we find amazing, but no one else has had those challenges from being a red state for almost 20 years. Okay? And she knows it's not her time. Trust me, she's got aspirations. Is it president? I don't believe so. I don't believe so at all. Is it a cabinet member? Yes. And Spirit tells me after she's done, then Jocelyn Benson is going to take her place. Because Michigan is a true blue state. It's going back to being blue like it was in the 60s, in the 50s, and early 70s, sometimes the 80s. Yeah. So Adrian says, I also noticed how she has been out campaigning hard lately. Yes. Kamala has been out there doing what Joe couldn't do. Now, if in his first term in 2019, when he was running in 2020, right? He was everywhere. The energy, that job takes so much out of you. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And Kamala's 59. Trust me. Look at Barack Obama in 2008. A young, beautiful, wonderful speaker, inspirational, and what he looked like 4 years later. And then what he looked like 8 years later. He aged so much. It's crazy. It's crazy. But that job's 24/7. It is not for the faint at heart. It is not for an older gentleman or an older female. It is not. You have to have the ability to absolutely react on a dime. The blessing about Joe Biden is the fact that he had these people around him, like Mayor Pete, who could articulate what the deal was. And you can tell the ones that aren't articulate, right? Homeland Security is number one, right? Is that you need more of a dynamic person in that position. Secret Service, after the Trump shooting, another place that you need have a dynamic person who can speak, who can absolutely own the stage. And those are just two examples. So Gretchen would be perfect for one of those in the future. I believe. I truly believe that. Homeland Security, wonderful for that job. Wonderful for that job. Transportation Secretary. Look at what she's done in Michigan. See? So I'm going to fix the damn roads. So don't be afraid. Be positive. Because I'm telling you what, Joe is not going to be able to get us over the line. Down ballot. He would win. He would win the presidency with no problem. Okay? I mean, people have said, he could be in a hospital bed and I'd vote for him over Trump. I would too. Because I would never not vote. You gotta vote. You gotta freaking vote. You gotta vote to save the country. You have to vote to make sure that what we live in, what I've lived in my entire lifetime, my parents, my grandparents, I mean, again, back 240 some years, right? Hasn't always been this good. And as we're going to the fifth dimension, guess what? It goes with us. It goes with us. And it's our job to make sure that we take care of that we absolutely understand what's at stake and tell other people, right? If they'll listen, some will not. My nephew will not. They won't do it. Not going to happen. Don't even try because he's a Trumpster. My sister, on the other hand, she kind of gets it. He's crazy. Yeah, pretty much. See? So the dynamic now is shifted so that Donald Trump is now the older one. He's 77. Kamala's 59. Okay? Now, Spirit has said some people will not like the fact she's a black woman. We're going to have to go over that. Right? And the power struggles right now that are going on in Washington with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and all the elites, right? And the mega donors want to take Kamala Harris and dismiss her and have two new people. Well, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have a $3 million war chest that cannot be transferred to anybody else. Unless somebody like Elon Musk is going to put his billions on the line, no, not going to happen. So don't listen to that chatter because it's not going to happen at all. Will it be at the expense of the upper echelon of the Democratic Party? I believe so. I believe so. Barack Obama came out and made a statement about Joe, but didn't say anything about Kamala, right? The Clintons did. Right? She's a great candidate, blah, 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 blah. See? So they're all hedging their bets because the convention's in 2 weeks. 3 weeks. 2 weeks, I think. Yeah. Right? So the next 2 weeks are going to be critical. But don't let the chatter, the circus, right, affect you. Because this is a whole different dynamic in the election. For the better. For the better. Because like I've said before, I said this in 2016, after we lost, that Democrats will be in power, Spirit said back then, until 2030. Well, now it's 2030. Now it's 2034, 2035 or beyond. Yeah, as the Republican Party shrinks. Okay, as the Republican Party shrinks, does that mean we don't have it, that we won't have insurrection in January? Oh, we'll have an insurrection. Trust me. But at least we know about it. We can be prepared for it, and he's not in power. Will be still, and we'll take the House. We'll take the Senate. So tell your friends, vote all the way down. In Michigan, we can pull one. We can pull one tab, right? And it gives us a straight ballot. Yeah. See? So it's easy to do that. Thank God for unions, because that's how we got it, and that's how they got it. We got to keep it. Yeah. But there's all kinds of games being played across the country, voter suppression and things like that. So if you don't live in Michigan, don't live in Ohio, don't live in Indiana, don't live in Illinois, you got, well, Indiana's kind of red, pretty much red. And they'll try to do everything they possibly can to get the poor black people in Gary and Hammond and Hobart, Indiana, and things like that, not to vote. So, and it's not a large enough voting block anyway, and not even in Annapolis. So, chimes. But it's all going to be good. It's all going to be fine. Spirit says, it's all playing out like it's supposed to. Don't take that on. It's not your fight. It's not your fight. It's going to happen anyway, right? So support it if you want to. If you don't want to, that's your choice. That's the great thing about America. You don't have to vote for him or her. I'm sorry. You can vote for him. You can Robert F. Kennedy, the Libertarian candidate, the Green Party, Jill Stein. You can do that if you want. But against the threat, you're wasting your vote, in my opinion, in Spirit's opinion. Because we have to come together as a collective, just like we do in collective consciousness, to make sure that we move in the right direction. I know we're going to move in the right direction. I just want it to be solid enough so that, and I know, and it will be solid, so that the muggles, right, don't freak out. Because they do. They absolutely do. And Democrats are so weak that that somebody steps out of line, they go, oh my God, we're going to lose. No. And I don't understand why. I think it's because we don't have a propaganda party that no matter what that person says, we're going to follow it. That we don't control everything down to what time you use the bathroom, because they do, right? I think we're more free. I think we're more liberal, which I totally am. But more worried about and thinking about other people. And this ties into, right? This ties into what I talked about guaranteed monthly income. This coming. I believe now, probably 2025. Probably. But they might wait. Okay. It will be 2025, Spirit says, because 2026, Congress people are for, the House people are for re-election again. But very few Republicans will think that's a bad thing, because most of the moderates and the conservatives are gone. It's all the crazies. It truly is. Truly is. They pushed everybody else out. And that's why MAGA, Republican Party, it will shrink by 2030. And there will be another power that comes out. Right? There will be another party that comes out. Right? Spirit won't tell me what it's going to be called, but it'll be something similar. Again, it could be the Republican Party again. Just with new blood, with new understanding that we have to work together against the threats of the world. That's China and Russia. Definitely. Okay? Nothing's going to be, there's no missiles going to be shot over. There's no anything like that. No nuclear devices are going to kill everybody. Not true at all. Not true at all. Spirit has said that in 2025, between now and 2025, probably around the election, until I've talked about this, until like February or March, there may be some bombs that blow up, okay, in areas that are populated densely. Some may have nuclear activity, right, that they gotten from Russia. Trust me, Russia and China are all involved in the election with the people that follow Donald Trump. Big time. Big time. And people can say, oh, it doesn't happen. No, I'm telling you, I know that from them. Their whole key is to turn America red and take everything that they can get. They will rape us blind, and he'll sell it all to them. We will no longer be the country that we would be, but it's not going to happen. So I will enjoy watching them toil in trouble on the other side, because they're afraid, right? They're hoping it won't be Kamala. Although they just said on the TV a little while ago that Trump still beats her. Well, she's not she's not running for president yet, right? So it's a fictional, and polls don't matter anyway, you guys. I'm telling you. 2016, Hillary was up by 16 points, they said, and she lost. Electoral College, she beat him by 3 million votes. But the Electoral College is where I got jacked up. So don't believe in polls, okay? Don't believe in polls. It's not good. It doesn't mean anything at all, okay? Again, it's the circus. It's the circus. You know, what else does he want to say? Okay, President Biden will not be on the stump for Kamala at all. It's her on her own. He'll be in the White House doing his thing, writing out his tenure, Spirit says. Okay, and that's simply because he can't. He's very sick with COVID. I've asked Spirit a couple of times, is he going to die of COVID? And he says no. He says no. Okay? But that doesn't mean that he gets back to full steam at 81 years old. Right? And so you're going to hear all kinds of things from both sides of from both sides, the blue and the red. Don't believe it. Right? Don't believe all of it. Kamala's going to win easily. Whoever her VP is, again, Spirit told me it was going to be Mayor Pete. And that was like Friday, I think. Friday? It was Friday. Yeah. Because they said he was supposed to make his decision by Friday night or whatever. Or then it was going to be Sunday or whatever, right? And so Spirit says, yeah, he's not, he can't do it. He physically cannot do it. Even though he has, and it's so funny, he has a lion heart. And I'll tell you what that actually means. My father was 87 years old when he passed away, right? And he would either sit in his lazy boy, looking at his hands. He'd be like, I don't know how I got this old, Bill. I don't know how I got this old. His heart was still 50, right? Then he'd touch his glasses, he'd look at his watch, and he'd look at his hands again. Because he was just like, I don't understand how I got this old. Just Joe Biden. Still has the heart of a lion, but he physically cannot do it anymore. He doesn't have the stamina. He had the stamina in 2020 because they gave him the stamina because he needed to beat Donald Trump to save the country. It's all about saving the country, and they know that. So don't worry, it's going to be good. Just get your butt out and vote. Vote early. Whatever, right? Because, again, it's going to happen our way. Does that mean it's not going to be a cluster mount? No, it's going to be. They've got all kinds of stuff planned to sabotage the election. All right? Just tell your friends. Be positive. When you get freaking out, stop. Gotta self-parent. Okay, Bill, stop. But you know it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. Just don't turn the TV off. Don't read the newspaper. But then you get inquisitive. That's them, right? To stay on top of things. And sometimes you just have to shut it off and go, okay, I'm going to leave my house. Leave my house. Not going to let's do it, right? I'm going to go to Myers and I'm going to go to the mall, whatever. I'm going to go somewhere where I can be distracted. Yeah. Simply because it's not worth it. The Democrats are going to win. And I asked Barrett if I should do this today, and he says, definitely so, yes. He says, if people don't like it, that's fine. That's fine. And I think that's interesting because of who I'm going to be in the future. You know, that what I do here in Metro Detroit is going to be different than what I do on Maui. And I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. So I'm a politics guy. I've been since I was 12 years old. I had Richard Nixon posters on my freaking bedroom wall, which now I think, what were you thinking? My God, right? But that's who they had me follow, right? Until it was nothing but Democrats. Democrats. Because my father was a Republican, my mother was not. She was a Democrat. And it was just interesting. I've always been interested in politics. So I'm glad I get to do this because I've been wanting to for a really long time. I said, don't just do it. Just do it. So tell me in the comments who you think is going to be VP, right? Who do you think? Is it going to be Mayor Pete? Is it going to be Gavin Newsom? Is it going to be Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, the new governor there? Is it going to be, who else can I think of? Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota. I don't think she's dynamic enough, but it's a possibility. I don't believe there are going to be two women on the ticket. I believe one's going to be a man. I believe they need the balance in the country, right? Because, again, there are many people in the country that think women can't do anything. There's plenty of men in the country that believe, my God, two women were, just oh my God, I can't do that. I'm going to vote for Trump. Because they believe they have to vote. And it's true. It's true that they want to vote, that they need to vote. So tell me in the comments who you think it could possibly be. If you've had any intuitive hits. If you have, and again, I'm going to leave this here on Facebook, and I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel also. So comment there, comment here, right? If you get an intuitive hit tonight or this afternoon, it's still 5 o'clock almost. Yeah, put it down, interact with me, because we have to allow it to happen. We have to, again, it's about flow, right? We have to understand it's already written. It's good. It's going to be fine, right? America's not going anywhere, but it's scary as hell. When you got crazy people on the other side who want women to stay in marriages even though they're getting beat up, that you can't have an abortion even though you had a miscarriage and you can't can't have a DNC. Crazy, just crazy shit stuff. It's like 1955. Get out of here, right? It's just again, ridiculous. 1955, 1945, we ain't going back there. Where white men ruled everything. I remember women could not get a credit card in their own name till 1974. Think about that. I was 14 when my mother got her first credit card, didn't tell my father. When he found out, he went and blew his frickin' stack. What do you need a credit card for in your name? That was my father, who he was brought up, right? Yeah, see? And I was talking to a person here in the complex who's from Mexico, and he's married to a woman that's from Puerto Rico, and they just had a cute little baby. And he was talking about racism and how he found it amazing that black people were emancipated through Abraham Lincoln, but the voting rights bill didn't pass till 1964. Like, yeah. He goes, why? I don't understand that. Well, because of the slavery thing. Again, and the white privilege thing. See? And so we all share in that being white. We just have to be conscious of not using it, again, not embracing it. Like the Karens and the Kens. They think they're the ones, and they're not. See? So it's exciting. I love Joe Biden. I always have, especially in the last 4 years, or last 3.5 years, let's say. He's a great president. He did a lot of things for the country. I mean, the infrastructure bill is just one of them. 1.2 or 1.7 trillion dollars in infrastructure being done now, right? And every place that I go, they're tearing up the roads and they're tearing up the bridges and they're tearing up the highways. So that's all federal money, right? It's mostly federal money. So it works. It definitely works. It's actually doing things for us, right? Actually, we're seeing absolute results, and that's what it's about. So it goes from the top down to the bottom up. Right now it's top down, right? And they'll go ahead and tax those rich folks and corporations and make them pay all their money. Pay their money to support the programs for people who don't have a home, people who don't get enough to eat. I mean, can you imagine the richest country in the world and people are going hungry in America? What the hell's up with that? It's the haves and the have-nots. Okay? They're enslaved in working paycheck to paycheck. They're enslaved in trying to make a living where they can take care of their family at $15 an hour. That's where the supplemental $1,000 a month comes in. $250 a week. Get a $1,000 check for every adult, first of every month. People are like, well, how? That's like this much. This is like this much money for 330. No, it's not 330 million people. There's kids involved in that. The adults, they all have Social Security numbers. They know how old they are. They can work all that out in Congress. They can work all that out and to take care of that in a very fast amount of time. Very fast amount of time. And that will continue into the future. Because McDonald's cannot pay somebody to flip burgers in their limited capacity $20 an hour. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible. It just can't happen. So they have to supplement them somehow. And instead of giving to the corporations so that they give it back in stock options and buy back their stock, they give it to the employees. They give it to the people to use as they need to. And again, I don't care what they buy with it. I was talking to a friend yesterday who is pretty good. Well, I mean, pretty set up, right? Pretty set up. And he was like, I don't want anything. I got everything that I want. If I want it, I'll buy it. But I don't need to have all that other stuff. I don't have to. I don't have to have the Louis Vuitton and designer clothes. No, I'm not that guy. So if they want to buy freaking handbags with them, let them buy handbags with them. It doesn't matter. It adds to the economy, right? Again, it doesn't matter. Because what it's meant to happen is for lower to feel good enough, to feel comfortable enough to have a better life. And that's what it's about. Raising that bottom up and making the people at the top who made billions of dollars during COVID, when all of us weren't working. In Michigan, making $300 and some a week in unemployment, which is a joke. Yeah, see? So let me go here. So Jerome says, you can thank the Illuminati elites for the shape of this. Well, yeah. Again, it is so interesting how the elites back, I mean, we're talking centuries, right? We're talking 15th century, 14th century, all white people, right? Because it was third dimension. Third dimensional people mostly have been white that have ruled across the world. And they set it up the way they wanted to set it up so that, again, it's just like religion. You're going to, if you don't do right, you're going to go to hell. Hell's not even real. It's fake. But the people were so uneducated, and I say this all the time about the GOP. They want to keep people in Texas and Louisiana and places like that poor, uneducated, and confused so that they can continue to get them to follow them because there's no leaders. They're dumbed down to the point where, they know better than I do because they're uneducated. been like that for centuries. For centuries. For centuries. See? And the church has part of that. I'll never forget somebody saying, gosh, this past year, when homosexuality was put into the Bible. 1945? Right? But before that, I'm not sure what century it was, but the Church of England during the guy who cut everybody's heads off, King George or whatever his name was, I think it was George. He moved away from the Church of England because of things like that, because they wanted to rule everything, and they pretty much did. But religion does that too, and aren't most white churches filled with white people and white pastors, white fathers? Again, it's set up that way. It's set up that way. And so that's why church and religion is shrinking, because now people are thinking for themselves. They've got inspiration on oh my gosh, spirit guides, and oh my gosh this, and oh my gosh that, and and Archangel Michael, and Archangel Raphael, and archangels, yeah. See? So it definitely has always been the top in third dimension. But in fifth dimension, no. Everybody's good. Do other people fall by the wayside if they're third dimension? Yes. We've talked about that many times, the Coach for the Soul, right? Many times. How the Muggles, slowly but surely, go back to their home planets. And I've seen already in the media and also in business how they're preparing for Donald Trump, because he's threatened them, right? And all of a sudden, the New York Times and the Washington Post have softened their criticism of the former president, because he's going to get retribution. I'll throw you in jail, I'll shut everything down. MSNBC, NBC in general, same thing. See? And so they're afraid of that. Are they perpetuating lies? Yeah. CNN wants to be the new Fox. Again, you have to watch what you listen to. You have to watch what you believe, right? But understand that everything is happening exactly how it's supposed to. Okay? So let me just, I think there was one more thing. Susan, I love Mayor Pete and Newsom would be good as well, but I like Chris Coons too. Oh, damn, yeah. He's a good friend of President Biden's. But I don't think he's dynamic enough. We're trying to, I know what they're doing is they're looking for candidates. Whoops, sorry, baby. To excite people, to get them to actually be in the thick of it and to vote and to absolutely just bombard the polling stations with all kinds of votes. Yeah, with all kinds of votes. But if you guys want to comment, that'd be great. Like I said, I'm going to leave this up on YouTube, and I'm going to leave it up on Facebook. And yeah, got any questions, put them down there. I'll answer them today, tomorrow, whatever. Whatever Spirit wants me to answer. When he wants me to answer, I'll do that too. Yeah. And I'll probably do one. If he wants me to do one tomorrow, I might do one tomorrow too. Chimes. So yeah, we'll probably see them. So thanks everybody. It's 444. I'm going to post that explanation in the comments, so that's kind of cool. And I'll see you guys on Thursday. Coach for the Soul, Thursdays at 3. See you guys.